Ohio guys, Rixu with you. Today we will talk about training aim in Overwatch and what can affect it. If you have any questions or want to learn more about aim and devices, then feel free to join my Discord community, link in description. Well, if you are interested in individual training, feel free to contact me. I have been coaching for many years. Let's start with some simple tips that will greatly increase your chance of win against your opponent. Overwatch is a very fast-paced shooter, and don't underestimate the importance of your PC configuration and monitor gears. The more FPS, the more stable the image is displayed on the screen, and the more predictable mouse behavior you get. This also includes the hertz of your monitor, which directly affects the smoothness of the image display, which means that it becomes much easier and more convenient to shoot with a large number of hertz. At the moment, 60 Hz for such shooters is already in the past, so you should consider at least 144 for purchase, ideally of course by all 240. The second thing to pay attention to is the game settings. Have you wondered why pro players and high rank players prefer to set the lowest graphic settings? Everything is very simple. By lowering the load on the video card and processor, we increase our FPS. More FPS, less input lag, and more responsive and control mouse movements we get. We also get rid of various pushes, cracks, some additional elements of the decor of the maps, blur the sections of the maps that are unnecessary for the visual, which will allow us to more easily notice the opponent. Aiming itself begins with our eyes. We first visually process information, then the brain sends an impulse to the movement of the hand and mouse. The less visual a garbage that clutters and distracts our attention, the easier it is for us. Concentrate on the opponent's model and accordingly it will be easier to hit. You can watch my guide on setting up the game on the channel. I will also leave the link at the end of the video. Almost all the tips from there still work. And now let's move on to the training itself. The training ground and deathmatch have been in the game for a long time in an unchanged state. Training aim on the range is too easy, it's only good for a quick warm-up and feeling your sense, or to not relax too much between games. The hitboxes of the bots are huge, their movements are predictable, and at this match we constantly meet Hawk players, Doomfist, and other excellent players, of course. Therefore, custom scams. Today I'll show you some custom codes that are perfect for training and warm-upping before the game. Perhaps the most famous and affordable option is Vexta. I reworked the mod slightly for myself, he is on your screens. I added some speed to the characters, remove unnecessary abilities and shooting from bots which constantly distracted. Now the Doomfist will not throw you all over the map. Also made infinity ammo for the soldier and other hit scans. I also upgrade the number of slots for bots, the ability to complicate training by adding supports that will heal the target and hold it for much longer, which will improve tracking and clicking on it much better. Choose the complexity of additional bots, which team to send them to, and choose for example Mercy. On the left we see the timer and the number of bots that we killed. I prefer to shoot about 100 pieces on each character I need, then turn on the fast mode and another 200. On R you can change the character and train him also by shooting 200 on high difficulty. You can adjust the difficulty for yourself. Some training tips. Firstly, your movement. Try to copy the movement of the bot during tracking and shooting. This will improve the feeling of the movement. Simply you work with the mouse, you will be able to better read the opponent and his movement. This technique is called mirror strafing. That is, you literally copy the strafe of your opponent. Also combine this technique with anti-mirror strafing. Copying goes in the opposite direction and you move to the left when your opponent moves to the right, as an example. Also, for complication, you can sometimes move in place to random sides. For a soldier, you can use Helix more often, terror behind the combination of healing plus shooting On KCD you can roll more often, making it harder for yourself to shoot. On Ash you can hunt the combination with the sight. Hitting the head in the target, immediately turn it off and finish off the target without it. The next code will be on your screens. This is a great strafe simulator. The characters move very nasty and unpredictable. Good for practicing the technique I talked about before. You try to copy the fast strafe with the keyboard and almost no mouse movement to avoid unnecessary movements of the right hand. We turn on the Infinity Ammunition, the most difficult level of strafes and train. In addition, in this custom you can get to another arena where you can practice your vertical tracking while the target is moving. Try to copy its trajectory as well. This will make it easier for you to track it. With the similar mechanics of bounce style vertical movement training, there is another code. It is implement only this type of aiming, but with a small adjustment of the distance and approximation of targets to the player. An excellent aim trainer that includes all the mods of previous map K5. There are several mods to choose from. Flying Heroes. Bounce variation. It is possible to change characters, select individual ones, for example, only Widow or only Sombra, Fire Mercy. It is also possible to increase the spawn distance from the player. Hero Juggle. Your shots throw the model of the bots up and you need to juggle them in this way. It is possible to select the desired characters with the desired model. We also have targets behind us and can be combined trying to juggle from two sides at once. Hero Arena. You need to shoot a little higher, crouching to summon bots, a simple training on moving targets, a small number of characters to choose from and strengthening the player with supports. Traits, a mini-game where you choose the number of characters that will run towards the player, who needs to have time to kill them all. As soon as the character crosses the line, one life is taken from the player. Number of lives 5. You must also press just above the picture of the characters. Flick. Not very useful flick training, Kovac or aim lab simulator, not very well implemented because of the weapon. The balls that respawn behind it are not visible. In general, it is easy to download Kovac. Sphere Frenzy. In general, it's also easy to download Kovacs. It doesn't look very good and don't advise you to train in this way. ByQQ. Training is very popular among Asian Overwatch players. In fact, there's a simple bot moves, easy strafe, slow speed, but for some reason they prefer to play this. Maybe if you get bored with the design of the Waxton map, you want a lighter map, then this will be a great choice for warming up. Also, amateur code differs only in that the bots are in a fixed zone from the player, there is a strafing trainer and a bounce. Well, some interesting codes that you might like. Improved polygon. Added a running tracer, it is possible to activate another one. You can also call the Widow to practice shooting at her at the time of the flight, and Lucio, who rests against a corner and twitches, cling to different walls. There's a climb to the roof, where it is possible to shoot at some kind of buggy symmetrical turrets and summon an ultimate Reinhardt. There's also possible to summon a Hawk to misery DPS damage. From the lowest level are also interesting calling a Genji, which reflects your abilities to work out the reaction to his deflect, calling a Headlight and the ability to add a Pocket Mercy to it, as well as calling supports that ult for you. And the last thing is working out on Reaper and Sombra. Ash training includes two mods, aiming mod and dynamite training. We choose a tank that will cover the target and throw dynamite, an almost completely useless mod, but for beginners you might like it. Aiming mod. Here we choose a character against whom we will fight 1v1, you can add a level of health for him, call a mercy boss to yourself and to him. From the tips you can use those aiming techniques that I described in the first code and terribly immediately hone the desired pattern of movements and shooting mechanics. Well, exactly the same custom project but provided for all characters. It differs only in the ability to play on any character. Training against a Tracer 1v1. If you are tired of these annoying Tracers and want to shoot them specifically, then the simplest code for this is perfect. Here you just fight 1v1 with the Tracer. 1v1 Fire training, Sombra training, Reaper training and another one on your screen. You can also get together in a company and play fun mods like Tower Defense. At the end of the training, you can play this code a couple of times with your friend or bots. And with you was Rigzu. Thank you for watching, sorry for my English sometimes. Put likes and I will continue the topic of aim training in Overwatch. Subscribe to my Telegram channel to be aware of new videos. Bye everyone!